Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we have a very busy show. Joining us, Christine Jones-Brady. She's a second assistant attorney general, plus Bryan Wachter, Helen Foley, and Paul Moradkhan. All coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
It's the Lucky Lexus Cash and Free Play giveaways at Tamarack. Weekly cash and free play winners plus a $20,000 cash winner guarantee. And drive home a brand new Lexus NX30 or walk away with $42,500 in cash. It's a good time to win at Tamarack Casino.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Coverage of the 2023 legislative session is brought to you by Liberty Dental Plan, making members shine one smile at a time. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. The Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. And by Nevada Builders Alliance, building a better Nevada.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Carson City. We've got a great show lined up for you with a whole host of pundits. We want to start out, though, with Christine Jones-Brady. She is the second assistant attorney general working on criminal cases, along with Bryan Wachter, who is not under any kind of legal jurisdiction here. And of course, he is the senior vice president of the Retail Association of Nevada. Pleasure to have you both here. Serious topic, which is organized retail crime. And I've talked about this on the show multiple times, which is being in the Bay Area and seeing what's going on there. Union Square, they had to put in more police during the last Christmas holidays because there was so much retail crime that people were scared to go there. Going recently to Walmart to buy some shaving cream, and I am directed to the jewelry department where the shaving cream is locked up and you've got to pay for it and before you can leave. I mean, what is going on?
Well, you know, organized retail crime theft is really a lot bigger and more complex than people realize, especially in today's day with the internet, social media, and, you know, Facebook. You can buy things online through Amazon, through Facebook, through all sorts of different online and social media platforms. And so people are they're organized groups of people who are stealing products or even stealing the labels or using the labels of products and putting artificial things in there. For example, medication, or baby food. It may be the baby food that came with it, or it may be baby food that was stored improperly. And so you don't know what you're getting when you are purchasing things that have been stolen and are part of this organized retail crime circuit.
Okay, so let me just run back around this. So what you're saying is that the organized rings are stealing from stores and then putting new wrappings on this?
That's one option, or sometimes they steal from stores and sell back the product to the stores, or sometimes they steal from stores and sell online. So they're getting very creative these days, to be honest with you.
One of the things that concerns me is that, you know, in a situation in a store, for example, if somebody comes in and, you know, wants to steal things, you don't want the store clerks to be the police.
No, and because what happens if you have the store clerks becoming police officers, there's a danger involved there. They're not sworn officers. There's a danger for the, frankly, for the offender. There's a danger for the store clerk because the store clerk hasn't taken, post-certified classes. They don't know how to interact with someone who's committing a crime, and they may hurt the person who's trying to commit the crime, or the person committing the crime more often will hurt the clerk. And it's hard enough sometimes, from what I hear, finding people to work in retail these days, so let alone with the risk of being harmed because you're trying to chase down a culprit. People have had broken bones. They can even lose their lives if someone's carrying a weapon.
Please follow on with this, Bryan, but also add in what you're doing at the legislature.
Well, we are, and we're very thankful for the Attorney General's office and his hardworking staff. We have Assembly Bill 50, which is currently working through the legislative process that will actually enable the Attorney General's office to begin prosecuting these types of crimes. And we'll provide a full-time prosecutor into that office to be able to stay on top of all of the investigations, all of the detective work that needs to go through, into where we can actually start prosecuting these groups for these types of crimes, because these crimes are actually funding terrorism, they're funding gang activity, they're funding additional criminal behavior. And this is why, when the AGAG talks about fencing products and taking baby formula out of stores and then reselling them on like the Facebook marketplace, that is just a revenue generator for that enterprise. And a lot of times the folks that are stealing it are in groups of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and they all have a role. This one's job is to make sure the manager's not paying attention. This one's job is to stand at the door. This one's job, and they literally have grocery lists of this is what we're stealing because this is what people online want to buy. Those people don't even know who they're fencing those products for, and then those fences take that and develop that into revenue that these criminal empires then continue to use. And so it is more than just stealing for need.
Well, that was going to be my question really to you, CJ, is, obviously we've always had theft. I mean that's built into the percentage of businesses. But is there something in particular that's driving this from the economy, or is it just a pure criminal enterprise?
Maybe a little bit of both, but so we're not just talking about the shoplifter, the one-off shoplifter, somebody stealing for need. That's not what we're talking about. These investigations and prosecutions are more complex. So it's we would be prosecuting possibly a series of thefts over a period of time, usually we're looking at 120 days. We'll be looking at what has been stolen continuously or regularly over a 120-day period by either one person or a group of people. And so that's organized. That takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of consistency on their part. So again, it's not just a one-off shoplifter or somebody stealing, for need.
Well, thank you both for talking about this. Obviously, it's a big deal, and when somebody like me, who just does the regular grocery shopping, starts to notice, the precautions being taken by stores, then obviously it's a much bigger deal, and thank you for elaborating on this. Bryan, stick around. We want you with the Pundits right after this timeout. Thank you, CJ, for being here.
Thanks.
And we'll be right back.
The casino industry drove Nevada's economy for decades. By the 1990s, however, the state's sole industry was in sharp decline. Many were losing their homes, many were leaving the state. Is Reno on track to be the Detroit of the West? Was an October 2010 Reno Gazette-Journal headline. Nevada knew it was time for a change and a time to diversify. Story County took that lead, took risks, invested tens of millions transforming its desert into a place of opportunity and a future for Nevada families needing something new. That desert now provides thousands of high-paying tech, advanced manufacturing, and energy careers at companies like Tesla, Panasonic, Google, Switch, and Redwood Materials. Story County transformed Northern Nevada forever, and the tide of opportunity has raised all vessels through construction contracts, high-paying careers, and the power of payroll. Tens of millions have been generated in sales and property tax, permits, and other revenues for Reno, Sparks, Washoe County, and for all of Nevada. Enough, in fact, to generate a surplus after public services are provided. And best of all, A sustainable economic climate has been created, enabling our children to stay in Nevada and live prosperous lives in their home state. Story County, improving Northern Nevada one industry at a time.
Carson Valley Inn, it's your place for the good times. Carson Valley Inn.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we have a great pundit panel here to talk about what's going on at the legislature. Paul Moradkhan is here, the Senior Vice President of Government Relations with the Las Vegas Metro Chamber. Helen Foley is President of Foley Public Affairs. And Bryan Wachter is staying on with us. He's the Senior Vice President of the Retail Association of Nevada. So, Paul, where are we in this session? Are we going to get everything done on time? Or are we going to be looking at special sessions? Your thoughts?
I think anything's possible at this point of the session. I think it's literally a case-by-case basis with the conversations with the leadership and the governor's office. Your guess is as good as mine right now.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. Senator Gansert was on the program. She said she thinks it's all going to get done on time. It seems like the negotiations for the A's Stadium are moving along and perhaps coming to a bill.
It sounds like the deal is done. It's substantially less than what they had requested, but all parties seem to be involved in it. So if they can get the votes, they've got it.
But there's concern, with Clark County that they could be on the hook for monies as they were for Allegiant Stadium if the revenues are not there, the tax revenues.
Well, that's true. They're going to be issuing bonds, and if something happened and it went under, the county would be responsible, and that means the citizens.
How do you think that will play, Bryan?
Well, I think, the argument is it's going to balance with the new economic development that occurs, and even greater increase in tourism and visitors to the stadium, and hopefully that is going to even out the scenario. So I think it's all doable. I think especially now that they've lowered the price tag, I think that greatly reduces the risk that's on the county, and we have proven as a city down there that sports is something that people will come to. I think I just read a report where it costs about 40% more to attend a game at T-Mobile Arena than it does in other comparable stadiums, and so it seems to be a recipe that's working, and we should keep trying it.
Go Knights, go!
Yes,
and
I
we
remember
love them.
The last time I parked at New York, I made the mistake of parking there on a night of the Golden Knights game, and the parking was $40. So yeah, it is definitely a profit center. The other big deal that came up near the end of the session here is this Sony movie deal. A no for Northern Nevada, but it looks like a yes for Southern Nevada.
I think the Chamber supported the bill conceptually. We think film tax credits in the film industry is a great way to diversify the Nevada economy, but there's definitely some work that has to be done from the bill from conversations that are occurring. So I think no bill is perfect that's introduced, so I think you'll see some changes potentially in the coming days for that. What's
the difference between this bill and what's gone on previously in trying to attract films to be made in Southern Nevada?
Well, I think previously the film tax credit was about $10 million. This is significantly more money. It's also, there's a part of developer component to it that's a little different from the past. But conceptually and I think on the merit of the bill, I think there's definitely a lot of folks interested. I'd like to see the bill happen, so we'll have to see how it shapes up in the final days.
But not for Northern Nevada.
Well, no, I'm representing Jeremy Renner.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Boy, did I have good timing on booking you.
Yes, and we have some meetings this afternoon with C.H. Miller. Everyone in Northern Nevada is saying, why is this so specific to the South? It's $4 billion. I sound like Austin Powers, $4 billion. I think that number will come down, but there are going to be some modifications to the bill so that hopefully the Reno area will get a chance too. When you asked about the current tax credits,
right,
those are for non-infrastructure. So that's for site location shooting. This is actually developing sound studios, stages, so that you have these companies, whether it's Sony in the South. I know that Jeremy's been working with Paramount, Disney Plus, to see what we can bring to Northern Nevada. It would be tremendous for us because it's not just the filming. It is all of the ancillary things from working with the universities, whether it's North or South, as well as all of the jobs that would become available for Nevadans.
Well, it sounds very exciting. Where would you locate this?
Right now, Jeremy is looking at land just above UNR.
Okay.
I say UNR, you probably call it Nevada.
You know what? Either way, it's fine. It's that university at the end of the street.
That's right.
All right.
That's
Let's
right.
take a break. We'll come right back. More after this.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the air conditioning back on today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why sweat for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your air conditioning fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
Located in the heart of Carson City, the Bank Saloon is a historic watering hole with a modern feel. With a variety of classic cocktails featuring Nevada spirits, space for private events, conferences, and an incredible atmosphere, the Bank Saloon offers a great location to work and play. Come visit us. Located at the corner of 5th and Carson, we'll save you a drink.
Big R in Sparks is located on Bering Boulevard next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. It's a 50,000 square foot hardware store and a whole lot more. It's your spring headquarters with lawn and garden supplies, power equipment, and outdoor living. Big R on Bering Boulevard in Sparks next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. Big R, hardware, and a whole lot more.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we have a great Power Pundit panel going here with Helen Foley, Paul Moradkhan, and Bryan Wachter. Bryan, the education bill, tell us about what's going on with that, because it seems like things got kind of crazy.
Oh no, they're fine. They're totally getting along. No, obviously there are some areas of contention. We saw the education budget bill come out of finance party line. I think what is more significant is how early the budget bills were introduced, dropped, and moved through committee. That is something, if you even take a look at the 120-day calendar, isn't supposed to happen till next week. And so I think you're starting to see some mechanisms to be able to get out on time and for the Democratic majority to be able to accomplish their goals, regardless, I think, of what the governor has stated his intent is on the bills. And so there's definitely heading into, I think, a week of intense negotiations.
Yes, but only a week early because there's only 2 weeks left in the session.
Early is early. Early doesn't usually typically happen in this building, Sam. And so I think anything that changes that typical timeline, I think, is noteworthy.
Has there been any concern about the Clark County Education Association wanting to get rid of the superintendent of Clark County's school district in the middle of a session?
I think there's always conversations about the performance of any superintendent, and there's always conversations going on when there's negotiations and collective bargaining agreements. So I think that's just part of one's role as superintendent, that there's going to be pushback from the union. And I think that's kind of expected in any process that's going to occur. I mean, I don't think the chamber's surprised that those conversations are occurring.
It just seems to be a little bizarre with so much money available to suddenly throw this into the mix.
It is contentious. They've never really gotten along. And you know, as our superintendent in Southern Nevada was fired and then was rehired, and the unions haven't been happy about that. I understand
and
that
looking for another job and then not looking for another job.
Right. I also understand that the unions made a mistake and didn't get their paperwork so that their name actually came out, and the school district has purchased it so that they can't use it. It's a crazy situation. That it's kind of ugly down there right now.
It's not just the unions. I mean, I, as a parent, certainly, and I sit on some of these SOTs and whatnot, it is disconcerting to have a superintendent who seemingly proactively tries to make things more difficult to increase student achievement. And we have seen that on any number of bills that have come through the legislature. The chamber has an amazing bill that deals with the Clark County trustees, and they have been attacking that as well. I think there's any number of things, and I wish it could be more collaborative. I think the history of Superintendent Jara at the legislative building is not a kind one. It's not one full of good events, and I think this was just a continuation of that.
Do you want to share more about your bill?
Sure. So the Chamber, in collaboration with Southern Nevada Farmers, are actually running AB 175 that will actually allow representation, non-voting members from each of the local jurisdictions. So there's more expertise, more perspective from either parents or business members to help with the school board. There have been challenges with governance in the last, I would argue, over the last decade.
Challenges. What a kind man you are.
I always try. So maybe, it would allow a representative from North Las Vegas, one from Henderson, one from Clark County, and one from Henderson. And our goal is also to bring diversity into those conversations and reflect the communities that are Las Vegas.
Let's change topics here to the pay bill. That all of a sudden becomes big news.
Well, it does, and there seems to be some contention between one-shots and ongoing funds. And the Democrats don't want to do one-shots, because then if you give a pay bill and there's no follow-up money for future years, it becomes problematic. So, we've got some challenges with the budget on several different approaches. I know with the school budget, the school choice, the governor has made that one of his major landmark issues for the session, and he's going to want something. And then you throw in the fact that our majority leader just had a baby and is planning on coming back today. I mean, she's a superstar. She just had her baby on Saturday. So there's an awful lot of issues out there. We also understand that there's going to be a major bill on generation of energy, that NV Energy is dropping.
And the bill isn't even there yet.
No, not yet. And so that, it's great that we're going to be able to rely on our state for our energy, but it also is going to come with a big price tag. And people are getting weary, and they're wearing down. So this next couple of weeks, we all have to stay on the ball.
With the price of electricity as it is right now and natural gas, is the public prepared for the kind of shocks that they're going to see in the future years? And I don't mean literal electric shocks, but electricity bill shocks.
Well, and I think that's part of the conversation here is how to increase, from the normal 6,000, megawatts that the state uses to when we hit peak. I think it's like 9,000.
Yeah.
And try to figure out that difference. And I think part of that will allow, hopefully, prices to stabilize. And as you know, Sam, those particular inputs, though, have huge inflationary pressure on almost every other output that business produces. And so I think it's important to make sure that we are making sure that those numbers can be as low as possible, that we can generate energy as efficiently and as cheaply as possible, because that's really what's dictating a lot of the other cost inflationary increases that we're seeing.
I still feel on a personal basis that we are in such a rush to get to this next level, and we're not looking at all the things that can go wrong, including the grid. Let me change to politics for just a moment, because April Becker announced that she is running against Ross Miller on the county commission. This should be quite an interesting race.
Yes.
Your thought? do you have any thoughts at this point?
No, not at this point. I mean, the chamber won't engage on those races till next cycle. So I think I think people want to see different candidates. They want to see what the incumbent's done, and the voters will have their say next November.
This has been a very close seat. I mean, with Stavros Anthony, Initially, he only lost by 10 votes, and then it was 15 votes. So, I mean, April Becca's run 2 strong campaigns previously. How does it look to run on the county?
I would never count Ross Miller out. He's a very good campaigner. You know, quite frankly,
or his dad.
Or his, yeah, that's right. But quite frankly, I am so consumed by the legislature that I don't want any of them to call me for money or anything else, or even to discuss the race until we get home.
All right.
You know, I will say we didn't have too much of an interest in the race until recently, and very disconcerting to read the comments from Commissioner Miller on an unfortunate event that took place, and a lot of retailers are kind of disheartened because he made some comments that their businesses would be better to be burnt down, and that they were blighted. And Commissioner Sagerblum kind of stepped into that same email chain and referred to the business owners as miscreants and ungrateful. And so that is hugely concerning from an industry standpoint, that we have elected officials that are harboring these kinds of thoughts towards the businesses in their district that are not only employing their constituents, but providing the tax revenue that the county so heavily relies on. And so we're going to take a huge look into this race specifically, because this is something that is really kind of a warning signal to us, and we're going to look into it further.
And unfortunately, we're out of time, but we will explore this issue with you in greater detail, because this is the first time hearing of it. So thank you for bringing it up. Thank you all so much. I know how busy you are at this point in the session, and good luck with Jeremy Renna. What a great client to have.
Yes.
No shortage of publicity there. Thank you all, and we'll be right back.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Hi, I'm Renee Summer, our digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Coverage of the 2023 legislative session is brought to you by Liberty Dental Plan, making members shine one smile at a time. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. The Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. And by Nevada Builders Alliance, building a better Nevada.
Our thanks to the Bank Saloon in Carson City and the Builders Alliance for their help with our coverage of the 2023 legislative session. We'll see you on the next broadcast.